Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our webinar tonight. It's a pleasure to have Dante Watson, a North Penn alum, as well as a University of Pittsburgh alum and a Division I athlete, joining us to talk to all of you, both student athletes and parents, about the transition from high school to college. And perhaps if you're joining us tonight, you're a 12th grader and you're looking to play college sports next year. Perhaps you're a ninth grader and you're looking to see what's the progression you need to take over the next 3 or 4 years from an academic course load, from making a name for yourself and getting recruited by coaches, and figuring out what level of athletics at the next level in college might be appropriate for you based on your abilities, your academic standing, and many other factors. So we've got a lot of different topics tonight, and we've got a relatively recent college grad who has been through it, and has a unique lens into that environment and world of college athletics. So I'll welcome Dante Watson aboard, and Dante, you can take it away.
All right, nice to see everybody on this call, on this webinar. I'm very excited just to share what I know, share my experiences, and just be able to provide as many resources as possible to prepare all of you that are, like how Mr. Berger said, going to the next level of college athletics. Um, so just on the next slide, just a quick collage of all my memories from high school and college mixed in there. Some familiar faces that are still hanging around, like Mr. Fluck. I just wanted to show you that, there is a progression from freshman year all the way up to freshman year of high school all the way up to my last year in college. Graduated in 2021 from with track as a track Division I athlete at the University of Pittsburgh. Finished up at North Penn in 2016. Time does fly. Before we even start, I want to say that the time does fly from the time you come as a ninth grader to the time that you walk across the stage 4 years later. Time is very crucial and it's important. So just want to make sure that you understand that, parents as well, just to get your kids ready and prepared each and every year so they know what they need to do to get to the next level. So, what does it mean to be a collegiate student athlete if you are interested in being one? You are going to have the spotlight on you. You are going to represent your university everywhere you go, whether you're on campus, whether you're off campus, whether you come back from school on breaks, whether you're in the summer, you're always going to be attached to your university or college. Um, with that, you have a bunch of responsibilities inside and outside of your area of competition, wherever that may be, whatever sport it is. Especially with social media, which we're going to touch into a little bit. There's always going to be eyes on you 24/7. So you just got to be mindful and aware of that. It's a lot of responsibility that you have to be willing and able to accept. It's going to be a lot of sacrifices, a lot of long days, long nights, especially if we're at the Division I level. It's going to be a lot of time commitment. You have to be able to manage your time everywhere when it comes to academics, when it comes to your athletics, obviously, and also time for yourself. Just making sure that you are very well balanced, which we'll talk in a little bit as well. Um, with that, though, it is also rewarding. So it's a good microcosm of life. I am very excited that I was able to experience uh, collegiate athletics, being able to travel, see different parts of the country that I may not have been able to see had I not been in college, being an athlete. So just being able to enjoy those memories and those times, college was a very fun time. And just being able to compete and travel, that was definitely part of one of the main rewarding parts that I took away from it. And just how it set me up for life as well. Just being able to go through 4 or 5 years of being a collegiate student athlete at the highest level, it prepares you for life because you got to being able to have that time management, being able to be organized, having all those tools and skill sets that you may or may not have had coming out of high school, but being able to have those at the end of college, it's just going to set you up for the rest of your life. So, these are I'm going to go through the different divisions of college athletics. We have Division One, Division Two, and Division Three. So you're probably wondering, which athlete am I? Everybody wants to be a Division One athlete, but the reality is only 1% of high school athletes even make it to the Division One level. So with that, we have to you guys have to be realistic with yourself and have a conversation with yourself and your parents. Where do you want to be at, and where is your best fit in terms of the Division One level? So in terms of level of competition, Division One is the highest level of competition. Um, and it's all over the country, all over the world. There's a bunch of sports that recruit from overseas, so you're not only competing with those in your state and the rest part of your country, but you're competing with international athletes as well. Um, Division Two, still competitive, top level talent worldwide as well, but it's just on a smaller scale, just because of finances. In Division Three, slower, the lowest of the competition level, but it's still competitive. They're not uh bringing in athletes on athletic scholarship like they would at the Division One and Division Two level. So a lot of athletes do fall into the Division Two and Three levels, which isn't a bad thing. It's still you still get those experiences, but if you're somebody who probably needs a smaller environment for academics, for athletics, you don't want a big environment, a big campus, because it might be overwhelming. And that's there's nothing wrong with that at all. Division two and Division three will be for you. Um, no, with that, Division one, because there's such a large pool of athletes that are being recruited, there's only each sport has a certain amount of scholarships, full scholarships that they can offer. Some sports offer full scholarships, like let's say basketball and football, baseball. Other sports don't offer full scholarships as much, like it would be swimming, track, wrestling. So it might be partial scholarships, but it's still scholarships nonetheless. So with that, you have to understand that yes, you can be a Division One student athlete, but you may have to be responsible for paying another portion of your tuition. Division Two, they don't have as many full scholarships as Division One level, so they're going to give out a little bit more partial scholarships so everybody can at least have something to come in with. In Division Three, they don't have any athletic scholarships, but they do tend to give the most academic money available. So. With that, requirements for the Division One level with academics have to have at least a 2.3 GPA. Division Two, 2.2, and Division Three, there are no definite academic requirements, but the school is going to have their own requirements in terms of how if you're going to be admitted into the college or not. So with that, you have to 2.3 is the standard for Division One. Personally, it's a low standard. You guys are at North Penn. I would hope that everybody at North Penn has at least a 3.0 or above. Um, with that, there are a bunch of resources at the high school from time you're in ninth grade up until 12th grade. A lot more resources than when I was in high school at North Penn. So please take advantage of those resources. Get the extra help that you need so you can get your grades to where they need to be if this is what you are aiming to be at as a Division One athlete. Um, and same with all the other divisions as well. Please take advantage of the academic help. You don't want to be senior year and you're at a 2.0 or possibly worse GPA and you're getting Division One looks and getting recruited by Division One, Division Two schools, yet you're not going to be able to go to the school because your grades do not fall in line with the requirements. That's the last thing we want to happen. So just make sure parents as well stay on top of your kids in terms of their GPA and their classwork, their academics, so that they are staying on track with their goals and aspirations. Again, talk to your high school's academic advisor about your current GPA. You should always know your GPA. per marking period, um, per year. If you don't know your GPA per year, go to your home office. They can print you out a transcript year by year so you know, so you can stay on track. Um, for college coaches in any sport, um, a 3.0 or a higher GPA is definitely preferred, because that lets them know that, you can handle being a student athlete and not just be an athletic student. You're going to be an athlete for a few years, but you will be a student for life, whether it be at work, whether it be trying to find a trade, any type of job that you have, learning a new skill. You're always going to be a student. You're always going to be willing to learn. So just being able to balance that along with your athletic obligations is very important and very key. Um, I can tell you from experience that college coaches at other universities that I do know, the first thing they ask is, what is this athlete's GPA? What is their cumulative GPA? They don't even think about the athletic ability because they obviously know that you're athletically talented. So everybody's athletically talented, but where's your GPA at? How are you handling your schoolwork? It's not even just to test your or know your how smart you are, but how responsible are you with your schoolwork? How's your time management? Um, so with that, just make sure that we're staying on top of it. Um, Take school seriously. Even for the ninth graders, parents of ninth graders, make sure that your children are taking ninth grade serious. If you have a bad ninth grade year GPA wise, it's going to be that much harder for you to stay on track sophomore, junior, and senior year. And especially if you want to do college athletics, a lot of the recruiting is done during those end of sophomore, beginning of junior year. So senior year may not even come into question. It might be too late. So just make sure that you're taking care of your business freshman, sophomore, junior year, so you can set yourself up for a smoother senior year transition. Um, in terms of the high school, just make sure that you take the classes that you know that you want to take. If a class is too hard because you think it might conflict with your athletic practices, like let's say AP classes, talk to your teacher, talk to your advisor, um, and they'll be able to walk you through it and be able to extend those resources to you to make sure that you're getting what you need out of it. And that's also just a good skill to have even when you do go to the next level, because communication is key when it comes to your academics and your athletic priorities. So just make sure we're staying on top of that. Know what type of student you are. If you're a student that is good on visual aids, if you're a student that is a book learner, if you're a student that is good with memorization, know how to study, what methods work for you. Be honest with yourself. Parents, make sure that your kids are honest with how they're studying. Make sure that they um, know what type of student they are in the classroom if they do need to get extra help. And there's nothing wrong with extra help. There's a bunch of resources there. Please use them and take advantage of them. They're there for free and they're there to help you. Um, the time management, um, that is going to be the biggest thing that can either make or break you at the next level in terms of collegiate athletics. Uh, College is not the same as in high school where you're in school for 7 hours and then you go to practice. You might have one class a day that's 50 minutes. You might have two classes a day that might be an hour, hour and a half. You might have a night class that's 2.5 hours. So just being able to handle the spread out schedule between your practices, your games, competitions, and your academics priorities, whether your study time, study hall, filling in that class time, that being able to manage all that and as well as managing your personal life, it is so crucial to get ahead of that and learn that skill now. And that way it will just be able to set you up for success when you're ready to go to college. You don't want to be doing things last minute. You might be able to get away with it in high school. I know I did. When I got to college, I had a rude awakening. I was not able to handle that because the rigor is just it's too difficult. And you have professors in college that have their set schedule of what they want to do. They're going to stay on track. They don't care if you're if you're there at class or not. If you're late or not, they're starting at 8 o'clock, not 8:01, and they're ending at 8:50. And that's it. If you miss it, you miss it. So just make sure that you're staying on top of your time management and your scheduling. Um, you guys have night zone. Pretty sure you guys still have more periods on certain days. Please take advantage of those. Get the help that you need in classes. Um, use the time to catch up on homework that you maybe forgot to do. Get ahead of homework that you have. If you know you have a big weekend of competitions in terms of games, uh, use that time wisely. And also just get adequate sleep. Can't do anything if you're not well rested and your bodies are not well rested. You can't retain information and you can't perform to the best of your ability if you are not sleeping properly. So that's a good thing. Recruiting is a big thing. A lot of kids are kind of stuck in terms of how to reach out to coaches. You don't want to wait for coaches to reach out to you. It is good if you do get looks for coaches to reach out to you, but it's also about being proactive. Coaches love when student athletes reach out to them because it shows that they're interested at being at the next level. It makes their job easier, quite frankly, because you're marketing yourself, you're branding yourself, you're showing that you want to be you're interested at this school for one, and that you're interested in playing at the next level. So, how do you handle recruiting? Student athlete interest forms on a college that you might be interested. They have them on their athletics page. They're called student interest forms. Basically, you just fill it out. You show, give out your information, your personal information, um, and it shows like why you're interested in playing at this specific sport at this school. What do you like about the school? What are your high school stats, whether it be in baseball, ERA or strikeouts, if it's football, how many yards you have, touchdowns, etc. Send emails to college coaches, and Ross, I'll show an example of that on the next slide. Um, it's going to ask for your GPA, what grade you're in, all the information that is good to introduce yourself to the coach so they can be introduced to you and who you are as a person. With that, a lot of coaches are now using social media um, as a way to make recruiting easier. With that, please make sure that your social media is cleaned up. If you have anything that you wouldn't, let's say, want grandma to see, take it off, scrub it. You don't want it on social media because you don't want a coach to look you up by name because you filled out a student athlete interest form, and they go on Instagram or Twitter and they see that you're doing something that you're not supposed to do on your story or your page, whatever. That's an easy way to just kill all your recruiting dreams in any opportunity that you were going to have at the next level. Um, Also, in terms of playing sports, if you are a multi-sport athlete, um, I was a multi-sport athlete at North Penn. I played football and ran track. Um, don't feel like you have to choose to do one sport early. Keep your options open. Um, I thought I was going to play football at East Stroudsburg. I was committed around April, I believe. I was going to play football and run track there. And then after my state meet at the end of May, I wound up getting a look from University of Pitt, got offered a couple weeks later, and that was that. I stopped playing football. I didn't even know I was going to take track seriously until that happened. I was my first love is football, always will be football. But with that opportunity to play Division 1, I took it, and I had Division 1 potential and talent in a sport that I didn't even think I was going to be doing in college. So don't limit yourself. Play as many sports as you can until you know that you don't want to do that specific sport in college. Then probably 10th, 11th, after 10th or 11th grade year, then you know, like, okay, I like playing this sport, but I know I'm better at this sport. Or I want to do this sport in college, but I really like doing this sport in high school. It's just about having those conversations, have those conversations with your coaches, with your parents, but most importantly, be honest with yourself again, just to know what you're capable of because only you know what you're capable of, and parents, you can also give your input as well to your children as well. Um, this is a sample email introduction. Um, Typically, you will want to email the assistant coach of your specific event, position, whatever the case may be. Assistant coaches usually do a lot of the recruiting because the head coaches have so much more on their plate. So when you go to a certain college's athletic page and you see their coaches, find the coach that is aligned with your specific skill set. And then also email that coach and then CC the head coach so they can see it. It's still going to come into their email. But that way you're able to get a more direct response because assistant coaches typically don't have their emails flooded like a head coach. So this is a simple sample email. Introduce your name, what class you're going to be graduating from, your height and weight, position, high school or event, whatever the case may be. Um, Talk about something personal about you, about like, hey, I'm Dante Watson, class 2016. I run track, play football here at North Penn. Um, I ran 48 seconds in the 400 my junior year. Um, Currently, I'm doing X, Y, and Z during my high school season. If you have a highlight tape, if in your sport, put that at the bottom. Let them know that you do have a highlight tape. That's just an easy way for them to see where you're at and what you're doing um, in terms of introducing yourself. And then just type sincerely at the end, say that you're looking forward to hearing back from them, and then you should get a response. Um, And then social media with that. This is probably, like I said, the main form of communication and recruiting now, just with how prevalent social media is. Please make sure that you remove anything that's inappropriate. There are so many examples of people that I know personally that didn't get recruited and got left behind because their social media has something inappropriate on there. They they just lost their opportunity because coaches don't want to deal with that. It's a bad look for the coaches, it's a bad look for the university, and it's a poor reflection of you as a person and your character. And you don't want that to be the first impression um, when you're trying to look for a home in terms of college and where you want to further your athletic career. And these are just two examples of coaches and how they say social media is prevalent. Steve Donahue, he's the men's basketball coach at St. Joe's. He said social media is a huge factor. We stop recruiting players because of things they post, share, or receive or retweet. Coaches are looking at all sorts of social media to gain a full understanding of who the person is. And Matt Ryder says, I would prefer not to see anything racist, sexist, homophobic, or anything that would generally indicate this person would not uphold the standards of our program. Um, Coaches do not want to tolerate that. They don't even want to deal with it because it's more of a headache for them and it's a distraction. They have 40, depending on your their team size, they have your one person. They have 30, 40, sometimes 80 to 100 kids to look after. They don't want to focus on just one being a distraction. So just make sure you clean it up now in high school. Get in the habit of being mindful of what you're posting on social media, what you're reposting, what you're liking if they're public, and just be mindful and just get it out the way. Don't do it. If you have to think twice about it, don't post it. Name, image, and likeness. This is a new thing. This wasn't around when I was in high school, but it can be a tool. It can be a resource for you. If you are social marketable on social media, if you do have a large following, if you do have um let's say a favorite store that you go to, a favorite restaurant that you go to. Let's say like I go to PJ's after our football games every Friday night. You can market yourself and you can talk to whoever their human resource department is in PJs, and you can get an NIL deal as a high school student athlete. It's not just reserved for college. And PA is one of the 40 schools or 40 states that allows NIL deals to take place in high school. Um, there is a whole bunch of information on that through ncaa.org. Posted that link up there. It's for college and high school athletics. It is overwhelming. It is scary. It's always overwhelming and it's always changing year by year just because of how new it is. but just make sure that you do your research. Make sure that you are knowing the rules and regulations in terms of what you can post or what you can market and brand in terms of NIL and what you can't. Um, I'll tell you a quick example. You cannot have any affiliation with North Penn High School in your NIL deal. That is a violation. You might get suspended. You might lose your eligibility for the duration of your high school career. You might put your team in jeopardy. So just make sure that we're being mindful of that. If you have any questions or concerns about NIL, of what a deal looks like, if it's going to be if it's proper, if it's um, illegal or legal, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Mr. Berger. Do not sign anything until you get the as much information and resources you need. Parents, please do not let your child go ahead and deal with NIL without your permission and without your consent because that can really impact your student athletes' involvement in athletics in the future. And lastly, just in terms of balancing academics, athletics, and social life, you got to have an equal balance, as you see on the lovely Venn diagram. You're at the center of academics, athletics, and your social life and your personal life. Make sure that you're taking care of your mental health. Make sure you're taking care of yourself so that you can be able to perform to the highest of your abilities academically, athletically, and socially. You don't want to feel burnt out because you're doing too many sports or you're not having enough time to do your schoolwork. So now you're trying to cram and rush to get stuff done. You don't want to feel like you're pouring too much time into athletics that you can do your schoolwork, and you don't want to bury yourself with academics and athletics to where you don't have a social life and you can't enjoy yourself outside of school and sports. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself, do the things that you like to do, and just have that healthy balance so you can give yourself the most success. And now the fun part, questions. There are, I'm sure there's a bunch of questions after that presentation. Um, and go ahead and
Yeah, just a
look at
reminder
that.
for everybody, if you do have a questions, down at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button there. It has a little number one, if you see what I see. And that's where you would type your question in for us to take there. And I don't know if Mr. Berger, you want to take this first one here about the forums and scores and those types of things?
Sure. So the question Dante says, if you don't have all the information yet as an incoming junior for the prospective athlete form, like you haven't taken the SAT yet or you haven't taken any AP exams, should you fill out the form or wait until you have those scores?
I would say definitely fill out the form just so you can get ahead of the curve. And then on the form, it should ask you, have you taken the SAT? Have you taken the AP score? All you have to just type is NA or planning to take at such and such date. Um, Still fill out that form just so coaches are still know who you are and you're still introducing yourself. And you just want to get ahead of the process.
And Mr. Berger, while we're waiting for some more questions to come in here, um, are there questions you seem to get all the time from parents when we talk about this topic and next steps coming from high school to college?
I think the biggest question that I get, whether it's from parents or student athletes, is just to kind of, that one slide that we had about kind of that sliding scale of GPA per level, and I just want to reiterate what Dante said earlier. I think the biggest piece of advice I would give to a ninth grader or a 10th grader who's looking to play collegiate sports is get ahead of that GPA, get ahead of your academics, and make sure you're not trying to play catch up in your fall semester of your senior year because as Dante alluded to, and you can fill in some blanks here, Dante, but you kind of miss the boat in recruiting at that point if you're a senior, like let's say you're a football player and you haven't gotten your academics up to standard for Division 1 yet, and you're playing in your senior season, chances are the boat has already left the dock, right?
Yes, and that's another thing. If you're a spring sport or a fall sport, that's going to dictate the recruiting process as well for you. So if you're in a fall sport like football, your senior season is pretty much just cupcake at that point because you're all the work has pretty much been done your ninth, 10th, and 11th grade year. So coach has already seen what they pretty much want to see from you by your junior year. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of your GPA because after your football season ends, which is the same around the same time that college football ends around December, January, that's when they're going to be recruiting. You don't want to be the person that has a 1.9 or a 2.0 GPA at your senior season, regardless of your athletic ability. They're probably not going to take you unless you have like you're like the 1% of the 1% with athletic ability, where they make an exception. But even then, it's still tough because you put yourself in a hole too late. So you want to just make sure you get ahead of it, like Mr. Berger said, just so you can avoid all those pitfalls that may come.
Dante, one question I have for you about social media is we kind of gave a whole bunch of don'ts, right? But social media can be pretty good as a vehicle to get recruited. So maybe what are some things that our young student athletes can whether put front and center on their profile, on X, on Instagram, whatever it may be, to kind of draw the attention of those assistant coaches who are going to be doing the recruiting in their sport?
So I would say for your bio, I would say put your prospective class graduation year for your seniors right now, 2026. Put what sport you do or sports that you do, what position you play, and I would say make posts of your athletic ability. Post about it. Tag the schools that you are interested in. Tag the NCAA. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do with social media to market and brand yourself that is really limitless. There's TikTok is very popular now. You have a clip of you scoring an 80-yard touchdown and juking defenders, or if you have a clip of you hitting a grand slam, like post that and tag a bunch of schools and be able to market yourself and just make sure that it's there for everybody to see. I know a lot of uh, athletes now like they have private profiles in terms of Instagram, Twitter. If you are looking to get recruited, just make your page public so everybody can see it and it's more accessible for college coaches to see you and reach out.
In talking about, the as you said, the conversation that an athlete has to have with themselves about, am I a Division 1 athlete? Am I a Division 2 athlete? Am I a Division 3 athlete? What are some things? What are some questions that athletes should ask themselves or ask their coach or even their parents about how to level themselves appropriately as far as looking to get recruited and eventually play in college?
So I would say that's a great question because that's where you judge yourself athletically, what you can do at the next level. Um, if you are well, for one, I would say have the conversation with your coach. I would say if you're starting on your high school team in your sport, I would say okay, if you're starting for a year or two, maybe 3 years, probably chances are you have the ability to play collegiately. Um, I would say also they say comparison is the thief of joy, but also compare yourself to other athletes in your class, whether it be at the local level in our conference, the SOL, at the state level. See where you measure up at, and you can use that as leverage at whatever division that you are interested in playing at. If I know that I played John from CB East, and I shut him down in basketball. He didn't score any points, but he's like the top player in the state. Then I want to market that. I know that I can compete at that level. So now it's about how to market yourself, how to show that you did this or show your highlights from that game. Talk to your college or your high school coaches, and ask those tough conversations. What what is my ability? What do you think my ability is right now? Ask your high school. If you don't feel comfortable with your head coach, talk to the assistant coaches on staff and ask for that transparency to be able to know where you fall in line in terms of your athletic ability.
There's a lot of measurables that go into the recruiting process: height, weight, statistics,
Yes.
GPA, SAT score. The immeasurables, though, can maybe cause a coach to go one way or the other on you. So, how do you share those immeasurables? And what I'm talking about is like maybe community service or involvement in other activities in your community, in your church, in your synagogue, in your school. How do you kind of fill in the blanks of those things in an appropriate manner to prospective coaches?
So I would say that would be part of the introductory email. So in that email, say that yes, I am a student athlete at North Penn High School. I also am involved in uh, the National Honor Society. I'm also involved with I'm a Boy Scout, I'm a Girl Scout. Um Things of that nature because it shows that okay, this person is involved in this club, this organization, and they're student athletes. So they have to have character. They have to uphold the standards and um the morals and values of these organizations if they're still involved with them and if they are a leader in those organizations. So those are the type of things that coaches do want to see because it shows and speaks to your character before you even see them or meet them face to face.
So, let's say as a student athlete, I am fortunate enough to be offered or recruited by a slew of colleges. All right. And let's say everything is just kind of basic across the board, full ride, come play basketball at whatever school. We're paying for it full board. You're a Division 1 level athlete. How do you decide what's right for you? And maybe lean into your recruiting process because you mentioned you went from a Division 2 football player to a Division 1 track athlete. So, what was kind of the goods, bads, and otherwises that you kind of went through to make that decision?
So I would say for me, I knew that I was able to play at in college for one. I knew I was able to play in college. Um, I didn't know which sport though. I had a love for football. That was the first sport that I ever fell in love with. I did track to get better at football, but I was still very good at track. Um, I had to have that conversation with me, my parents, along with uh, Coach Jones, Coach Flood about my track career. Um, and it was basically this is the highest level. A lot of people don't get the opportunity to get recruited to go Division 1. This is a rare opportunity. And on top of that, you're getting scholarship for it. Um, and I had to look at, what my life would be like if I were to go to East Stroudsburg to be a student athlete versus what it would look like if I was at the University of Pittsburgh as a student athlete. And I'm talking in terms of not just athletics, but in terms of academics, networking, other resources, in terms of um, my career path, things of that nature. Um, I quite frankly made a business decision. I was like, this is a great school. This is a better school and a better opportunity for me in all aspects, regardless of my love for football. So I have to go. I have to take advantage of it. Um, and that's a conversation that is tough for it was tough for me, and I know it's probably going to be tough for the next athlete that has to go through that, where they have to give up their first love, but to get to take advantage of that opportunity. And not saying that my decision might be the best decision for you or for another athlete, but it was best for me. And that's what it comes down to. What is best for you as a person, not just as an athlete, but what's best for you after you're done college, after you're done playing your sport. Because like I said before, you're only an athlete for a few years. You're going to be a person at the end of the day, no matter what. The athlete title is going to fall off quicker than it is as a human and as a student and as a person. So
Yeah, I
that
just
would be
wanted to
my advice.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in here, Kyle and Dante, because one of the things I was thinking about, and this might be a spring session, right? Like once you decide on a school and that decision of where you're going, of how much, the financial piece that if a school offers you, a scholarship to play a particular sport or come to that school and do that, of you guys doing the calculus on, okay, if I do this, this is how much this school will cost me to go here. And if I stop playing by my junior year, what's that mean? And those other elements of a scholarship that if you stop playing that sport, and I'm not talking about injuries and you can't and those types of
Mhm.
things, but like, maybe you're just not at the same level anymore, or you're just kind of done and you're ready to move on to something else and not play a sport. How much does that play into the calculus of picking that school? And they might offer you a certain amount of money for something. And then you say, like, well, what if I stop playing this sport? Then what's it cost me? Like, how much does that play into your spreadsheet of how do I make a decision?
It plays a very big factor just because student loans aren't no joke. So you got to take that into consideration too, and parents, that would be something that you should definitely have a conversation with your kids about as well if they are interested in going to college athletics. If this school is offering you 50% scholarship, but this other school is offering, let's say, 25, how does that play into what school you have to consider? Because at the end of the day, um, somebody has to pay for your tuition. So you just got to take that into consideration. I know for me, um, another factor was that Pitt was actually cheaper than East Stroudsburg just because of the scholarship and the money I did get from FAFSA, from student loans and grants and things of that nature. So just being able to calculate the whole amount of funding that I received, for both schools, it definitely made that decision even easier as well because I'm saving money and I'm going to a better school. So just make sure you take that into consideration as well.
Excellent.
Dante, I think maybe one last question I have for you before we wrap it up here is, and this is not a no regrets question because things turned out pretty well for you at Pitt and into your professional life now. But is there anything that you would take from your own experience as a learning experience that you would want to kind of end tonight with, like, hey, I did this, but maybe you should do that, or I saw somebody else on my team at Pitt do this and it was not ideal.
Um, I would say use social media a lot more as a recruiting tool for me, when I was in high school. Um, Hindsight is definitely 2020. Social media is not what it was when I was in high school, so it's very different. But just being able to market and use social media to brand myself and market myself to college coaches, a lot more than I did back then. And I would say also, I wish I took the AP classes that I was um, recommended for in high school, because I know that it would have set me up a lot, even better and further than I already did. Just because I would have had that experience, I could have maybe finished college a semester early, just with those credits being able to transfer over. So I would say definitely, taking AP classes and using social media more. So that would be my one, lesson and resource to provide. Don't get scared about AP classes in high school, or don't get scared of taking those honors classes in high school just because you think it's going to interfere with your athletics. Because at the end of the day, like, academics is number one no matter what. So even if you might have like a B in a AP class or a C in the AP class, but you still are performing at a high level, athletically, that's going to look really good to a college coach in the recruiting process because it shows that you're able to handle the rigor of like a college class and also do your athletic obligations. So I would say those would be the two things that I would do differently.
Great. Yeah. Well said, Dante. Thank you so much. And as we wrap up here tonight, just a word to those of you, if you're live or you're watching on a replay, if there are questions about the college recruiting process, what the requirements are at a specific level, feel free to stop by the athletic office, shoot me an email. Also, our Future Plan Center is a great resource in our high school. Mr. Brett is the director of the Future Plan Center, and he's got lots of good advice for potential student athletes at the collegiate level as well.
Excellent. Dante, Kyle, thank you so much. I think it was really informative tonight. Dante, awesome job. I think giving those direct experiences are really helpful for parents to look at this. We'll be posting this on the North Penn High School athletic webpage. Give us a day here to download this and re-upload this tomorrow, and this will be back up. So if you're talking to some friends and family that missed tonight, they can watch again, or if you just want to go back and review some other content. The sun is setting here at North Penn High School. It is not setting behind Mr. Kyle Berger, where it is always beautiful, beautiful sunsets here at Crawford Stadium and North Penn High School. Thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope everybody has a wonderful and safe evening. Dante, Kyle, take care.